Okay friends, let's start our biome collage. Now the first thing you need to do is you need to decide what biome you are going to choose for your picture. There are 5 different options on the worksheets at your table. I'm going to choose the desert biome. So I'm going to look for a minute at the desert biome so I can familiarize myself with what animals, plants are in that biome. So I see a lot of kind of deserty types of plants like cactuses. I see animals like camels, some little foxes. I see lots of birds. So I'm going to stick with those types of ideas. Now, first thing I need to do after I choose my biome is I need to grab my background paper. Your background is going to be horizontal. That means long ways. And you need to draw a ground line or a horizon line. The horizon line is the line where the sky meets the ground. Every biome and every landscape has a horizon line where the sky meets the ground. So for my desert biome, desert is kind of hilly a little bit, so I'm going to make maybe just like a wavy line, but like a smooth wavy line, not too many hills. And then I'm going to use my tempera cake paint over here to paint the background. I think I want to stick with a yellow sky and like an orangish ground, maybe like a little bit of brown in there. And that's going to help me get the colors in the background that I need to make my painting look like it's the right place. So I'm just dipping my paintbrush in the water, swirling it in the tempera cake, get enough paint on my brush, and start to paint my background. Tempera cake is a lot like watercolor paint where you need to keep adding water to your paint to make it work. And it's very light. It's not supposed to be super dark. I think I want to add a little bit of brown, but I don't have brown, so I'm going to take just a tiny bit of black, not too much, and put some tiny little light areas in here, and that will make some brown marks for me. Now I want to paint the sky. I'm going to do that yellow. Swish my water in my paint, get a lot of color on that brush, and start to paint the sky. Now your biome might be way different from mine. If you're doing like the tundra biome, you might need to paint some mountains. If you're doing the jungle or forest biome, you might need to paint like a blue sky and a green ground. It's up to you what your background looks like. Now, after I'm done painting my background, I'm just gonna put my name on the front or back of the bottom or top, and I'm gonna let this dry. So I'm gonna put it to the side of my table. Now while this is drying, I need to start to cut out some shapes for my biome picture. That's where all these fun, fancy painted papers that we made last week are going to help us. So I'm gonna pick a color for the first shape that I wanna be in my landscape, and I think I wanna do a cactus as one of my plants. So I'm going to try my best to find maybe some nice green, light or dark green, colorful papers in here. And if I can't find what I'm looking for, I can always look in the paper baskets at another table to see if I can find a better color. Let's see if this basket has any good green papers for me. Ooh, I like this one. Here's some green. I'm going to maybe put these aside for me so I can use some of these green painted papers. Okay, so now I need to take my pencil and I'm going to draw the shape of the cactus. All right, I'm going to take my scissors now and I'm going to cut out my cactus. I'm going to try and keep this to one shape, but if you need to cut out many shapes for one plant, that's okay. Like if I was cutting out a tree, I could cut out the trunk brown and the top green, that's fine. But for my cactus, it's all green, so I can just keep it one shape. My background is pretty dry, so I can bring it back here and I can start placing my pieces down. And I'm not gonna glue them yet, I'm just gonna kind of place them and see where I like them to go, and then I'm gonna add more, and then I'll glue them towards the end. Let's see, I want to find maybe like a brownish paper to cut out some shapes of maybe some other animals like some birds or some little foxes or camels or something like that. So I'm going to look for some brown papers for those. Now, some of these animals are tricky to draw. If you're having trouble drawing them, I do have some stencils that you could use for some animals, and you could place this onto your papers to trace some animal shapes and cut those out. That's up to you. Or you can try and draw your own. Let's see if I can find some nice brown papers in my paper scraps. Here's a nice brown right here. So maybe I can use the tracer here to trace the shape of a bird. This looks like a bird that might be in like a deserty scene. All right, let's cut out my bird and add my bird to the scene now. I want you guys to think about how you could add many animals and many plants to your biome, because we learned that biomes don't just have one type of animal or one type of plant. They have many, many different types of nature, animals and plants. So I want you guys to add at least 3 or 4 different animals and 3 or 4 different types of plants into your biome. All right, I've got a nice little animal here. Maybe he can be walking on the desert next to the cactus. Now I only have 1 animal and 1 plant though, so I need to keep adding more. I can keep looking at my worksheet and finding the colors that I need in my paper scraps. When I'm done with these paper scraps, I can put them back in the basket for the rest of my classmates. Now let's pretend I have a lot of shapes here and I'm ready to glue. This is the type of glue we're going to use today. You have a little bit of glue in a cup with a paintbrush. Now I'm going to take a little bit of glue on the tip of my brush. I'm not going to dunk my brush, just the tippy toes stick. We don't want too much glue. And then I'm just going to dab the glue onto the edges of my shapes. And this is a little bit easier than using a glue bottle because you don't get too much glue, you just get as much as you need. Place your shape down and it will be nice and flat. No edges sticking up. All right, this is a great start, but I've got a lot more work to do. If I don't finish today, that's okay. I'll finish next time in art. I'm gonna keep adding more plants and animals to my biome. Great job, you guys. Can't wait to see your finished biome collages.